focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Young Black Female Achiever series. I don't need to talk too much about what this program is about or what this series is about. You already know what it is about. And today I have another phenomenal and amazing young woman, one you would want to follow and one you would want to hear from. Of course, she's beautiful as well. So why don't you want to listen to her? Welcome with me to the show today, the delectable Benedicta ONYEBO. Welcome to the show, sis.
Thank you, Oyo. Thank you
I'm so
much.
excited to have you here. And for the record, this is the first time I'm meeting Benedicta, but I've heard a lot about her prior to now. And I was so excited when I was told to reach out to her. And today I brought her to you guys. So please sit back, be patient, listen, and soak in the message she has for you guys. So Benedicta, or would you prefer me to call you Benedicta or Ben or B, or what's your Benny? Okay, Benny. I like that. So Benny, so we can just go right into it. Tell us about yourself. We want to meet you. Who are you?
Okay. For starters, my name is Benedicta Mwakego Chinoyenum Omonigo Onyebo.
Wow.
I'm very names because your name actually defines you. I'm from Delta State. I'm from a family of three beautiful women. I'm the second of three. My elder sister, then I have a younger sister. I grew up from a very, very humble beginning. Where do I start from? Okay, let me talk about my growing up first. Like every other child, I grew up from a very close-knitted family till something went wrong along the line when I could remember vividly when I was 10, my parents separated, and that changed a lot. That's changed a lot. And at some point, I and my younger sister, at that point, actually, I'm 7 years older than my younger sister. So I and my younger sister was still very little then, had to go with my mom. Then we're living in Kano then. So we had to move from Kano to Lagos to my grandma's house. My grandma had a house in Lagos then. You know, she still has a house, sorry to say. So we had to move to my grandma's place. And my elder sister was left, so to speak, my family was divided, you know, at a very young age. So my elder sister was left with my dad. Growing up, there was struggle. There was a lot of struggle. Like my mom was taking care of I and my younger sister. She wanted to maintain that standard that we had education-wise and socially, you know, the standard we had when we were still with my dad, you know, providing our needs, going to private schools. At some point, she did all sorts too, you know. Then she used to go to Seme. There's somewhere they call Seme then. She goes there to rice in bags, tin tomato to sell. Sometimes the customs, they will seize her goods. You know, she was trying all sorts of business from there. The business ran down. She went into catering. I guess that was where I got my flair for catering from. She went into catering. She had done is it church business? She was just doing all of that. So at some point growing up, I had to start supporting the family at a very young age. Then I could remember I was in JSS1, primary 6 to JSS1. I've always had this flair for business. There used to be one lady around my house, then she sells fruits, and I used to be very fascinated. She would go to K2, then we're living in Oregon. She would go to K2 market. Sometimes she treks to K2 market and she comes back with wheelbarrow and stuff. They will bring it. Then she washes the fruits. I used to just watch her. Then one day I just told my mom, I said, I want to start selling fruits. That was how it started, you know, because I knew that at some point I had to support my mom. So with me, my mom could not continue the private school thing. She had to enroll me in a government school. But I told her, I said, if I'm going to go to a government school, my younger sister is not going to go to a government school. So she said that the pressure was getting too much that she does. So I said, okay, I'm going to support you. That was how I started my food business. For me, it was fun. I didn't see it as suffering or anything. It was fun for me because I was fascinated that I can actually make money. Then the profit margin used to be very huge. You can buy fruits for say 500 naira, and by the time you finish selling, you have close to 2,000, 3,000 naira.
And how old were you at this time?
Then I was about 14.
14. Wow. 14 and already a businesswoman.
So I was kind of fascinated that I can actually make money. Then I didn't really have much need. So most of the time, the money just goes to my mother, you know. I want me keep my money. And, sometimes it is the parents, when we're fighting or when I get angry, I say, Mommy, please, can you give my money? Then she tell you, all the food you've been eating. Then she has to remind you,
Yes.
You get, so it was fun. Then from there, from selling, at some point, I had to hawk. I started hawking. I didn't do that out of fun, though. I did that because I wanted to support my mom, because she used to bring in rice, the ones she had not sold, in order for her to make profit, because while selling the bags, she wasn't making much profits on the bags. Then she realized that if she sells the measuring type, when she measures, she makes more profits. And how is she going to make much profits is to take it out there. So when I get back from school, I put my fruit out there. Sometimes she helps me to sell my fruit. Then I take the rice. I go from house to house to sell the rice in derikas. So I will sell from afternoon to like evening. When it's time for my lesson, then I'll go back home. Like that. We did it for a while before she started her food business. And all the time, she was changing business. As she was switching, I was switching with her. When she started her business, I also joined her in that. She lost her store, her shop, because she had a shop. She had to start selling at Ikeja, under the bridge at Ikeja at night. So she did furnitures, these wooden furnitures. I could remember then, I was in secondary school. Every evening, I used to follow her to Ikeja from Oregon. We enter bus to Ikeja, help her carry things. Then there's somewhere we used to keep our furnitures so that it's safe. So when I get there, I'll help her to go and carry the furniture. I'll carry the furniture on my head. I'll take it under the bridge, set up for her. I remember one incident like that. There was one guy around my area growing up, this teenage thing, like I had a crush on the guy, so to speak. And one day, I don't know what the guy was doing in Ikeja, and I was carrying chair on my head, and I saw the guy, and the guy saw me. It felt as if the ground should open and I should enter,
Oh my goodness.
Now, thinking about it, I can laugh about it, but then it wasn't funny.
I know, right?
I can't be carrying, I can't be doing this, but I was there. I and my mom were very close. I was there for her.
Okay, Benny, let me come in here. So, I mean, you're already sharing your story, the struggles you experienced in the past, and that actually has molded you into what you are today as the businesswoman that you are today. So before you continue with your story, which is actually the crux of this interview, I want you to share with us or tell us what businesses you do today, because I don't know you're a serial entrepreneur, but what are the businesses you are into?
Okay, I'm an event planner. The name of my company is Dates Magic Event Management, which has been running since 2012.
Wow.
We're expanding. We have Dates Magic in Lagos, and now we're in Abuja. We're expanding by God's grace.
Amen.
That is my first baby. Dates Magic is my first baby.
Right.
I have a skincare line. I have a passion for skincare. I went for training. I have a skincare line. I'm a skincare specialist. I help people fix their skin, so to speak. A lot of people these days, you see them, they use a lot of damaged products on their skin, which is not good. So I help people fix their skin. I help them maintain their skin. And a lot of women out there, they don't even know anything about skincare routine, So I do presentation on skincare and all of that. Then I'm a nutritionist.
Wow.
juice, natural juicing. Those juices, they have different benefits. We have juices for skincare. We have for holistic treatment. Sometimes there are some ailments that don't necessarily need doctor's attention. Just that you're not having a healthy diet. You're not having a proper diet. So most of those juice are holistic. And I would say I'm very, very versatile. I do a lot. And recently I started a partnership with two powerful women, catering. I've always been into catering on small scale, but recently we're doing it big here in Abuja.
Amazing. Yes. So you're an event planner, a skincare specialist, a nutritionist, and you are into catering business. That is amazing. Yeah. Congratulations, sis. I really, really love that. I love women who are, the word is not ambitious, but women who are ready to spread their wings, women who are ready to take the word, and women who are ready to not wait for things to come to be delivered to them, but women who are ready to go out there to take what they want and are working towards it. Congratulations and well done. Okay, you already started to share your story with us and also your background, but I just want you to tell us a little bit more about your background and how that shaped you to become the serial entrepreneur you are today.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to skip. I used to say something. I said someday I will have to write a book about myself. So I will try and make it as short as possible. Okay. From where I stopped selling food, helping my mom run her business and all that. I started working. At some point, I started working in an advertising agency, even when I was in school. I just got into university, and every holiday and break I used to just go work for this advertising agency there in town criers. So we used to travel from one state, different states, to do road shows. I don't know if you've heard about the road shows. We used to do road shows then. I was able to save up money for my university education. I was supposed to have my first degree in Olabisi Onabanjo University. I spent 4 years there and I did not graduate. That was one of my first breaking points. I did not graduate because I had so many irregularities in my admission processes and all that thing. So I knew there was no way I was going to graduate. So I left before I was kicked out. And what next from there? I asked myself, what was I going to do from there? I've always had this resilient spirit. I don't stop. I don't give up. There's just this thing about me. I always want more. I always want more. And coming from where I grew up from, I told myself that I am not what happened to me. I am Benedicta. I am going to be different from this environment. I remember then they used to, where we stayed was like a face me, I face you. One room. I remember growing up around there were a lot of homes surrounding us with well-to-do kids. I could remember them. They used to those segregators, like, oh, don't play with those ones. So they are local. They don't have money, that kind of thing. So I told myself, I said, one day, those people, I'm going to be better than them. Right. So that was one of my driving force. I didn't even know that. Proud to that, I didn't know that I had a calling. I didn't know that I was going to serve God. I didn't know that God had a purpose for my life. I was just going with that drive. I wasn't just okay with where I was. So when I left university, instead of just waiting, I went to a fashion school. I started learning how to make clothes and all that. And I was actually making money from it. I learned within a month, I started, making money from it. Then and I enrolled in school again. I went back to school. I went to Lagos State University with all the strike, all the back and forth. I ended up spending maybe 6 years there, but finally, I graduated against all odds.
Let me pause you there a bit. Let me pause you there a bit, Benny, because your story is just so unique. Like, you have gone through situations that ordinarily would have stopped you from even continuing to become a success, or for you to even decide to want to be a successful person. First, you said your parents separated at a young age. Secondly, you were kicked out of school from the university after spending some years And of course, you have an humble beginning. So all of these things together are factors that I feel would have actually set you off track, and you still found a way to get yourself back going into a fashion school, re-enrolling in the university, spending another 6 years. What motivated you? What was the drive for you? I'm really interested in knowing what was the drive.
And one of the drive for me then was fear of failure. I didn't want to fail. Then I wanted more. I had this big dream. Like, I've always been ahead of my peers, ahead of myself. I used to just say big things as young as I was then. I used to say, okay, at XYZ age, I'm going to have my first car. I remember having to save, this daily contribution. We call it, the name is called Kolo, not even a job.
Okay.
Put in a piggy box. I remember I had to do that to buy my first car. And there was something I left out. Even when I enrolled in my second to get my degree finally, at some point along the line, I got pregnant out of wedlock. So people expected me to drop out. I said I wasn't going to drop out. At that point, my mom was also very sick. I had to take care of my mom. I had to take care of me. I had to take care of business, and I had to go to school, and there was a driving force there, which I didn't know. It was God. God was just there. I had a calling in my life I didn't know. And I want to try and cut the story short because it's long. I had my baby. I had my daughter in 2011. And I finally graduated 2014. Wow. Unfortunately, the day I graduated, the day I was writing my final exam was the day I lost my mother. She actually died in my arms. I came back home excited that finally, since 2000, the journey I started 2002. That was the first time I went to university. I finally graduated in 2014. With that excitement coming home and meeting her in that situation, rushing out to emergency, and I finally lost her. That was enough to break me. At that point, I reached a breaking point, and I lost it and felt I needed to run away from me. And the only thing I could go into then was I started drinking. I would drink myself to sleep because I wasn't sleeping. So at some point, I became an alcoholic. But as each time, I used to look at my daughter, because then my daughter was already 2+, and I used to look at my daughter like, my mom is no more here. I'm a single mom. And before my mom passed on, by the way, my parents got back together for a long time. They got back together, they were together. So I had my dad, and I just told myself, I don't want to be a failure. They are already disappointed in me that I dropped out of school. I had to start all over. I had a child outside of wedlock. Now it was looking like I was the black sheep of the family. Then I became an alcoholic, and there was this emptiness inside of me. I didn't know what it was until when I found it. I just knew there was this emptiness. So I knew that when we laid my mom to rest, I knew that I had a wake-up call. One of the days I drove out to drink, I had too much to drink, and I had an accident. I rammed into a wall, and my car was damaged. Thank God. I didn't even know how I got home. That's how bad it was. When I woke up, I knew that this is it. Whatever it is, you need to put yourself together and face life. So first, what I did, I moved out from that environment. I moved from the mainland to the island. Some dairy things that's there. Events thing, it was still coming up gradually. Then from there, I found Jesus. Sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out. Till finally I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And in all of my journey, I was persistent, I was consistent. I knew that I cannot be extraordinary if I don't come out of the ordinary. I knew that what I wanted, I cannot just sit and be normal and do what normal people do. You understand? And I knew that I don't have any backing. I don't have any good father. I don't have any man, anybody, anywhere paying my bills. And I knew I had responsibility. Then my daughter also became my driving force. She became my motivation to do better. I tell young people these days, your setup, the people, your peer group matters. The people you choose as friends, the people you associate with, is either they make you in life or they destroy you. You know, I really wasn't comfortable with my circle. I needed to break out. So I moved out. And growing up in my family's house, I grew up with lots of cousins, you know, aunties and all of that. So I became a people's person. I always have people. I used to have friends, like crowd. At every given time, when you come to my house, you meet all sorts of women there, you know. So growing up, at some point, I knew that, okay, I need to stop this. I need to move out. I need to take myself out of all of this distraction and ask myself what I really wanted. That was when I started finding purpose in life. I knew that life was just more than working, paying bills, sleeping and waking up. I knew that there has always been this thing pushing me, like, there's more, Benny, there's more, you can be more. And that was
I have a quick question for you. So after your mom passed whilst you were graduating, did anyone take you in at that point, or you had to start fending for yourself? And if you did start taking care of yourself, what was it that you started doing at that time?
I've always been taking care of myself before she passed, because she was sick for a very long time, by the way. I actually left at some point. I left home. I left Oregon. That's my family house. Okay. I left Oregon. I told her, I said, Mommy, I'm leaving home. This place is not for me. I left home. I started staying with some friends. You know, from staying with some friends, my younger sister, we got a place together. When we got a place, then we finally got a place for my mom. Then when she was sick, I took her in. She was staying with me. I dabbled into clothing business. I told you I learned fashion designing. So I started doing the clothing. I used to do ready to wear. Then ready to wear wasn't so big then. I'm talking about as far back as from 2010. I started doing, I had a clothing line then, you know. I was sewing and selling. Then I used to go to Lagos Island also. I would buy all this made in American clothes, Turkey clothes, China clothes. It depends on, because I had different customers, low budget customers, high budget customers. So I would just stock up my boots. Even when I was pregnant and going to school, I was doing that. When I come back, I would just drive to probably Daystar, go anywhere, open up my boots. So I was selling. And the event thing hadn't picked up then, but we're doing little events here and there. We just used to beg to work for people, like, please give me your events, let me do it, I can do whatever, anything you pay. And then we didn't even really know much. We learned on the job. So we would collect as much as, say, 120,000 naira then for a wedding decoration, and decorator that will probably charge us 100,000 naira to do the decoration. I will be left with 20,000. I will share it, you know. But while we were doing that, we were learning decoration, we were learning event planning. We actually learned on the job until we got better, and we said, okay, we don't need these people anymore, and we started doing it on our own. And for each job, it got better with each job. It just got better. And I remember the first big job we did. After we did that job, I and my partner, because I had a partner then, I and my partner, we shared 500,000. We're like, whoa! So we can make this much money, you know? I can remember, and I remember my partner, she bought her first car then, and you know, things started happening then, and
yeah. I have a question for you before you go on. So you mentioned to me that there were certain reasons why you decided to keep pushing. One, you mentioned that you were afraid of failure. Two, you wanted more. Three, you had a big dream, and that you wanted to be an extraordinary woman. So whilst you had all of this motivations at the back of your mind, were there times you wanted to change your mind? Were there people coming to you to say, why don't you go the other way? Why don't you do something else, you know, something illegal, to get out of this mess, to get out of this situation and become successful, regardless of however the success comes?
like I said, I had all sorts of friends, the good, bad, ugly, and name it, before I broke out of that circle. I remember having a conversation with some group of ladies one time, and we're just sharing, and one of them actually said something. She said, Benny, now you won't suffer now. Let me say it the way she said it. Benny, now you won't suffer now. You be fine girl. Now you won't suffer. You're too rigid. You're too uptight. All you need is 1 or 2, 3 men to foot your bills. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, truth be told, if I want to be honest with you, I actually tried it and it didn't work. I knew that this was not for me. And I always remember that that is one of my one thing that pushed me, like, you don't have to do it like the world. The fact that it is popular and everybody is doing it doesn't make it right. You know, you don't have to go that path to be. I tell, and another thing, I at some point I had a lot of young girls looking up to me, so I could not afford to mess up. I knew they were looking at my every move. I knew people were watching me and people were looking at me. I could not afford to mess up. So I used to tell those young girls that you don't have anybody to make ends meet. You can do better. You've been gifted. God has blessed you with brains. You are strong. You're not handicapped. You can do better. You do not have to go that path. You don't have to go. And over time, you know, they used to have this much, don't worry, she will fall. She can't do it by herself. And over time, as the year goes by, they see me that, she's getting stronger. This one is gone. And the next thing, she's now a Jesus girl. That's just ended the whole thing.
Yeah. Whilst you rejected, or you decided not to proceed with the idea of following richer and older men, you know, and you started your events planning business and every other business, how did you get the capital you used in starting? And I ask this because I just want you to make it clear to our viewers or our audience that it's possible to make money or to start your own business without going through that route.
Okay, when we started the event capital, there was zero the event business. There was no capital whatsoever. Zero. There was nothing. We started with zero. I remember the first job we did was a friend's wedding. You know, we had to even go to Port Harcourt. At the end of the day, we weren't paid for that job. You know, at every given time, every time we get a job, we use the money that we were paid for the job to fund the job. Sometimes we have to source out for vendors, decorators, people to help us just get the job. We were like the middleman. That was what we were doing. We're doing the middleman. We get the job. We get people to do the job. In doing that, we were learning on the job. I still had other little businesses I was doing by the side. I was still doing my clothing business. I was selling perfume. I was doing other petty things on the side to get by, you know. And guess what? There was also a lot of mockery that came with that, because I was constantly in need. Then I was constantly in need. There was never money. It's either I'm in need of money to do something. There were times that I'd gone hungry without food, you know. I had it that bad. So when I see people looking at me now and say, oh, you're lucky you had it. No, it wasn't this smooth and rosy. You know, I had bumpy days. So the event business, we had no funds, nothing. We started on zero ground and we built it up from there. Yes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this time as well, did any of your parents, family members reach out to you? Did your dad assist in any way?
Okay. My dad, I and my dad are very close now.
Okay.
He's retired.
Okay.
When he was still working, he used to like just sort us out. He would just give us pocket money, little money here and there. That didn't come until he and my mom, remember I told you they were separated for a long time, you know. So that didn't come till I think they got back together, the reconciliation and everything, and he took up his responsibility again. And that did happen for a long time. He retired and then the table turned. Now we have to start taking care of him.
So just for us to learn more from you, how did you scale up your businesses? All these 4 businesses you have, your event planning business, the skincare specialist business, nutritionist business, and the catering business. How did you scale all of these businesses?
when we started, it started from a place of hunger and passion. That was not enough because the world keeps evolving. And you cannot just be in one place. The kind of decorations we used to do 10 years ago is not the kind of decoration that we do. So you have to keep learning, improving yourself. And we realize that, okay, we can't just be doing this on a small scale. If we want to grow, if we want the kind of clients, clients we're looking to get, we need to up our game. So I started going for trainings, different trainings, different schools, some 2 weeks, some 1 month, some 6 months to improve on my skincare. I didn't go for any skincare class or anything. I was just experimenting with formulations, different formulations. Some went wrong, some went right. Till I knew that, okay, I started getting grounds, customers, and I knew that I cannot afford to be playing with people's skin. They've entrusted me with their skin. I cannot afford to be doing experiments with their skin. So I had to go for a proper training. I went to Cookie Skin. It's a renowned training skincare academy, Cookie Skin. I went to Cookie Skin. I did also some online trainings, improve myself. And the thing is, the learning never ends. It keeps evolving. The learning never. Till now, I'm still learning. Till now. Recently, I enrolled in a content creation class. I learned cinematography. I learned a little bit of editing, because you want your product to, when you're putting it out there, it's not just, even if the product, your content you're giving is good, the packaging has to attract your target. So yes, we keep evolving, you keep training yourself, you keep bettering yourself,
Wow, that's impressive. Well done. So now you've already shared a lot of stories with us, a lot of challenges, mind-blowing ones, and how you have been able to come out of them. So I just want to ask you today that for anyone who is currently going through some of the challenges you earlier went through, what will be your advice to them based on your own experience?
First, there's nothing that goes up that never comes down. You will not die of hunger. And if you ask yourself that in 5-10 years time, will I be proud of what I'm doing now? If your answer is no, then you look for something better to do. Start from where you are. Start. You know the parable of the talent, the parable that Jesus gave about the 3 talents. One was giving 1 talent, the other one was giving 2 talents, and the other one was giving 5 talents. The 5 and the 2 came back with returns. They doubled their talents, and the one with 1 actually buried it and didn't do anything with it. I tell people, don't be that one. Don't be that one. Don't say, I don't have anybody. I don't have anyone to help me. I look within. There's something. I started from zero. I started from zero. I used to hear a lot of this one is not motivational speaking. This is reality. I started from rock bottom. When there's nothing, you have just your brain to brainstorm. You package what is not. You understand? That was where I started from. If I can do it, you that you are younger, you have time, you have more time ahead of you. You can do better than I did.
Amazing. Thank you very much. To do the 9 to 5, the professional routes, what will be your advice to them, especially for someone who is having difficulties, maybe at work, they are struggling to get a hang of what they are doing, maybe they're having problems with their superiors at work? What will be your advice to those type of people?
First off, I would say, 1, find your passion in life. Find your passion. Are you doing 9 to 5 just to make ends meet? Do you love your career, your profession, what you're doing? Do you love it? If you don't love it, first, you don't have any business being there, because you will never find fulfillment there. But if you're passionate about 9 to 5, you're doing it, even if you're having challenges with your superior, because you're passionate about it, and something you're passionate about, you always give your 100. Yes. Even your superior, by the time you start giving your 100, your superior will have no choice than to just align, go down for you and align. And I tell people, find your purpose in life. Wherever you are, if you don't know what you are created for, what your purpose here on earth, I'm sorry to say this, you're just wasting away. Find your purpose. When you find your purpose, I don't know how to explain it. There's just this fulfillment that comes with it. It doesn't mean that things will not go wrong. It doesn't mean that you will not pass challenges, but it's when you are in your purpose, when you are going through challenges in your purpose, it is different. The journey is different from when you are not in your purpose and you are going through challenges.
Okay. So this begs another question for you. How do I find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? That's a question I think a lot of people are struggling with.
For me, you might say I'm sounding spiritual, but this is just the truth. This is my truth. This is reality. You cannot find purpose outside of Jesus Christ. That's the truth. I don't care what anybody might say, oh, but Dangote did this, or this person, he doesn't know. I found purpose when I found Jesus Christ. I became better when I found Jesus Christ. The things I used to do then, before I knew Christ, sometimes when I think of it, I say, wow, Benny, you actually did that. I found purpose in Christ. When I found Christ, it's like the mirror. As I look at the mirror, I see something that is wrong about my head. I don't like, I change it. That was how Jesus Christ became. He is the word I look at him as my word. When I look at him, it transforms me. That was where I found purpose. That was when I knew that, okay, this is my purpose in life.
Wow. Thank you so much, Benny. So 3 key things that I want to mention here is that 1, losing a loved one, especially a parent, getting rusticated from school, and coming from a humble background do not define who you are, and they do not prevent you from becoming what God has ordained you to be. And of course, these things don't prevent you from becoming a success. So for everyone listening to us today, and you are really worried about your current circumstance, you have so many challenges, that you feel will not allow you to keep pushing on. No, don't let those challenges prevent you, because they are not enough to stop you. They are just bumps on your journey to success. So you have to embrace them and find ways to get out of them the right way. As our guest today, Benny. Thank you so much, Benny. You do have a unique story, and it's a story that I would want the world to hear, because you defied all odds. You kept pushing, and you're still pushing, and God is helping you and sustaining you. And I wish you all the very best in your career, in your chosen endeavors. May God Almighty continue to expand you and make you successful in all that you do.